The wait is finally over. We now know that Francis Ngannou is going to be competing with the PFL after his signing was announced about 50 minutes ago from the time of recording this video. Bit of a strange announcement, actually. I first saw it on the DAZN MMA account on Twitter, which isn't verified or anything like that, so it's a bit strange. And then a couple of minutes later, we got the official PFL one and everything like that. I would highly recommend checking out the New York Times article that is linked beneath the PFL's announcement video. It goes into all the details. I'm going to talk through some of them and give my initial reaction to this news and things like that. But yeah, check the article out for yourself because it goes into quite a bit of detail and stuff like that about the announcement and all that good stuff. So first of all, I've heard this be described as the worst kept secret in MMA, and I think that that's quite fair. I think from the moment that Ngannou left the UFC, it was quite obvious that the PFL would be the number one choice to get him. They have made a few signings over the last couple of years. I'm thinking of guys like Shane Burgos, who were good in the UFC, maybe didn't get the value that they deserve. Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't think Shane Burgos was treated badly by the UFC, but of course the PFL could say, we're going to make you a huge star and we're going to pay you like double what you were on, if not more. And so it was obvious, I think. And the thing with the PFL was they have this super fight division. There's room for him to box maybe as well, because they've done that with Jake Paul. It just seemed obvious that the PFL would be the one, and of course it is. And through all of this process, through people ruling themselves out of the Ngannou deal, with most of them stating that it's because he wanted too much money or he wanted things other than money, roles higher up the board, if you like, higher up the ladder, and they couldn't offer him that. Too much control. And that didn't surprise me. I was never like, oh no, Francis has messed this up, because I never really saw a world in which he signs with bare knuckle or even one championship. I just don't think their model is set up for somebody like Francis Ngannou to come in and be this huge force, whereas the PFL feels like that's what they're going for. That's exactly what they want. So yes, he has signed with the PFL. Few checkpoints to go through. Like I said, I think the PFL was the clear option anyway, so I'm not surprised just to get rid of that. He will fight in the PFL Super Fight division, which of course is on pay-per-view mid-2024, which of course raised some alarm bells until you read the New York Times article and you see the meaning behind that. The reason for that is so that he can box sometime this year, which makes perfect sense. Little bit strange, I guess, that he will box and it'll probably be a decent level. And then you're going to have him fight in MMA, but I don't think a boxing match, no matter how badly it goes, really takes too much. I mean, don't get me wrong, if he fights a guy that people don't rate and he gets knocked out, then yeah, obviously it does. But I don't think that's going to hurt his stock in MMA much, you know? Like, even, you know, if John Jones went and boxed Anthony Joshua and got beat, you're not going to say that John Jones isn't the greatest MMA fighter in the world right now. Like, do you know what I mean? I just don't think that plays into it. So I think that that's fine. He explains in the New York Times article why he picked the PFL over other promotions, saying that they just offered him more than anyone else could, but also that promotions like One Championship, I believe is the one he name drops, could only offer him a basic contract. You know, here is a however many fight deal, you'll get paid this per fight, whatever. And Francis wanted more than that, which he has been given with the PFL. He will be the chairman of PFL Africa, which I'm just going to pull up the notes that I wrote down on it, because they describe that in a very specific way, and I want to make sure I get the wording right. An expansive initiative to produce events on the content, and he will serve on the company's advisory board to represent fighter interests, which is what he wanted. And that was part of the thing with the UFC, is that's what he wanted. He wanted to be a representative for fighters. He's got that with the PFL again. That was a no-brainer, I think, because Jake Paul was doing a similar thing with the fighters and fighter pay and all that stuff. It makes sense to have Francis be part of that because he is the other person who has been speaking up on fighter pay. Now you've got both of them, which I think is a great move for the PFL. I think this whole thing is a fantastic move for the PFL. Of course it is. I'm sure they will be paying him a stupid amount of money, but it seems like they've got it. As for who do I want to see him fight? Well, first of all, this MMA fight is not until a year away, which is strange. Francis Ngannou has had a lot of inactivity. It's really hard to predict. I think that by that time there will be a heavyweight from another promotion, be it the UFC, be it maybe Bellator. I know that there's not, a ton maybe there that people would want to see. Maybe even one championship, but I doubt it. There will be somebody that will be at the edge of their contract and they will be looking at that saying, I could go over to the PFL and fight Francis Ngannou. And I think that will be what will happen. Personally, can't really see it being anyone on the current PFL roster. They make a lot of signings, so I think it will be someone new. Obviously, the front runner would be last year's winner, Ante Delia, but then you don't know if he's going to win the tournament this year, so who really knows? But yeah, that is my thoughts. I think we've been through just about everything. And yeah, how are you guys feeling about Francis Ngannou's debut with the PFL? Who do you want to see him fight? Maybe some names, chuck some out there. Do you think this is the right move for both Francis and the PFL? And yeah, how are you feeling about the whole thing? Because this is going to be a big story for quite some time. I will catch you guys on the next video.